Hey, yo, Sylvester Stallone here. I love what I'm seeing so far at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. And most of the people are getting back to reality, saying the word JUMANJI. But that's too easy for me. I played Rocky Balboa. I've been expendable, and I've battled through tougher jungles than this while playing John Rambo in Southeast Asia. Wait, what's that? What's that? No, come on. Yo, Adrian!
Fish market, you'll see lots of flying fish. But we saw more. Great customer service, teamwork, energy, and results. So how can you bring this kind of energy to your organization? The answers are in Fish, the most watched training video in the world. The Fish philosophy is a fresh, powerful training solution. It has 4 easy-to-use practices. They help you create an environment where people love to come to work.
One fish flying to Deborah.
One fish flying.
And so Fish really lights people's hearts on fire. It helps them understand, hey, it's up to me, and then it shows them a very simple, predictable pathway.
So we all need ways to get pumped up and get remotivated and refocused on what it means to really work together.
Checking bags? How you doing, sir?
Nearly every industry uses the Fish philosophy to deliver amazing customer service.
How's it going?
Improve teamwork and trust.
The more we incorporate the Fish philosophy in what we do, the better job we do and the better our patients do.
It has absolutely transformed the climate of our school. Our discipline problems have gone down dramatically.
Businesses that I see use Fish invariably end up the first choice, not just for the customers that they serve, but for people who want to work there. You build great environments where people want to come to work and where people say, that's the business that I want to do business with.
Contact us to learn how the Fish philosophy will help you.
Finally, another sister to join me here in the jungle. Courtney White, do you hear the sound of the drum beat? They're sounding the call for you. Come on, girl.
Courtney, you made it. Welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable, Jumanji.
Thanks so much. That was a ride.
Courtney White is the Vice President of Marketing and Communications at DEALERWARE. Courtney, it is so great, and we're honored to see you back here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Welcome.
Thanks so much. It's so good to be back.
You know, the last time we got together, it was last fall. It was one of the early Fixed Ops Roundtables. We were all out in Beverly Hills, and we had a huge crowd, and you and I had a chance to spend time together. We shot some tips of the day together, so great to have you back. Bring us up to speed a little bit on DEALERWARE and what's happening.
Yeah, thanks so much. I would tell you I would much rather be in Beverly Hills with you, but we'll do what we can here. I'm in the jungle here in Austin, Texas. Yeah, I lead communications and marketing for DEALERWARE, and for those that are not aware, DEALERWARE started out really solving the problem of loaner fleet management for dealerships, dealer groups, and OEMs. And over the last year or so, we've really expanded. So we are a connected car platform that helps dealerships manage every vehicle on their lot and enable those mobility services like courtesy loaner, as well as rental, subscription, and beyond. So we've definitely expanded as the need for digitalization within the dealership has over the last year, and particularly in the last 8 months.
You've got a great platform at a great time in the business. So with that, Courtney, I'm going to let you take it away, and the show is yours.
Thanks so much, Ted. Well, thanks everybody for being here. I hope you had a wonderful holiday. I myself am still recovering, but this is not a virtual background, nor will I confirm or deny whether I put it up just to be on theme today. I'm really excited to talk to you about something that may seem a little bit outside of the fixed ops realm, but as I was just saying with Ted, we've seen so much transformation in the last 8 months as a result of COVID, but in a way that I think really enables a new way of approaching the dealership. I remember in 2018 seeing a J.D. Power report where they really talked about the need for a more holistic view of the dealership. And what I've seen from our customers over the last 8 months is watching the sales and service departments work together in tandem in ways I've never seen before. So today I really want to talk to you about one thing, the test drive, that I think we can think about really reimagining in a way that delights our customers and just as importantly, drives profitability. It's a simple example, and I'll go ahead and take you through. So first of all, there is no doubt that COVID-19, as I said, has accelerated automotive retailers' digitalization efforts. Evolving consumer preferences for personalized, on-demand services that are delivered outside of the dealership mean that retail automotive covers a lot more ground than ever before. However, as we know, the car buying experience is still very much that, an experience. The ability to experience a potential new vehicle, the performance and handling, the body lines, the in-car technology, that new car smell, all add considerable value to the ultimate purchase decision. So how do we rethink this journey in a way that considers these seemingly incongruent realities? It's time to rethink the test drive. And perhaps by doing so, we open the door to rethinking the broader dealership experience, one that's more customer-centric and even more profitable. And just as importantly, one that requires only a few simple steps of new operating. So, just to orient you around what I plan to talk about over the next 10 minutes are 3 examples of ways that we can rethink the test drive. And then how do we make sure that we manage that risk, that it's not increasing costs, that we're protecting our vehicles, and that we're protecting our employees' time? And finally, what's in it for you? So first up, the self-guided test drive. For those of you who are located in New York City, you're all too familiar with this, likely as a result of the city's mandate that made it so that salespeople couldn't even be in the car with potential new customers when they were test driving. But whether you were mandated to do this or not, more contact-free experiences, while adopted by dealers for COVID-19, are here to stay. There's no putting the toothpaste back in the tube on this one. KPMG recently found that half of consumers would prefer to take a test drive without even visiting the dealership. And 75% of shoppers who intend to buy in the next year would like to close somewhere else other than the dealership. Self-guided test drives provide an option for those who want to reduce time at or avoid the dealership altogether. But how do we do that? A self-guided test drive can be initiated at a dealership or through at-home delivery for, say, a returning customer at a higher tier vehicle level. In the dealership setting, customers can utilize the contactless contracting offerings that have been introduced over the last few months by providers like DEALERWARE to provide their license and credit card collateral, as well as sign any location agreements or terms and conditions that you might have before they pick up a key fob. At home, for the delivery option, they receive that delivery and execute the drive individually. But the good news is that salespeople can still offer that ride-along product expertise by calling into the vehicle or just standing by for questions afterwards. Self-guided test drives are a great way of adding a physical, on-demand element to an increasingly online shopping experience. And now taking that a step further, the extended test drive. The ability for a shopper to experience a potential new vehicle as part of their daily routine can be even more impactful in closing a sale. While KPMG found that 83% of drivers would never buy a car without test driving it, myself included, J.D. Power found that 98% of drivers are more likely to purchase a vehicle after an extended test drive. And best of all, this option is not only preferred by consumers, but it also offers dealerships an opportunity to derive revenue from this added convenience. Accenture found that 47% of all consumers are willing to pay more if retailers exceed their expectations. And data from J.D. Power shows that the exceptional experience of an extended test drive is worth $50 to $100 or more for more than half of consumers. And best of all, if a consumer decides to purchase after the extended test drive, that rate can be applied to, the credit, I guess, can be applied to their final purchase price. So it's a real win-win for everybody. And next up, don't leave money on the table. This is really where fixed ops comes in. Extended test drives aren't the only experience that dealers can make transactional, while simultaneously offering a more thoughtful customer touchpoint. By rethinking the way consumers view loaner vehicles, we can actually leverage a scheduled service appointment as a potential catalyst for a new vehicle sale in the future. Studies found that 75% of consumers view courtesy loaners as test drive opportunities already and will pay up to $30 for a service loaner. So think about this, for customers nearing the end of their lease or vehicle ownership life cycle, how about offering an upgraded loaner for a small fee or even for free that allows customers to the convenience of a loaner vehicle while also experiencing an upgraded version of your brand to consider? But I know, what about the risk? How can dealers manage to offer modern expectations without increasing costs? Dealerships can better manage and protect their assets with very simple digital tools. Connecting every vehicle on your lot via a single screen solution, like DEALERWARE, to gain visibility into location and vehicle health, automate fuel and toll recovery, and seamlessly credential customers can go a long way in driving efficiency, cost savings, and a better customer experience. Embracing the right technology means that you don't have to decide between elevated experiences and profitability. Making the car buying experience more approachable and in line with today's changing consumer behaviors can start with the test drive. And not only that, it can differentiate you from the dealership down the street. Allowing more extended test drives or self-guided test drives is a smart strategy to cater to the modern buyer by giving them more control over the remaining physical element, that experience of the vehicle themselves, in an increasingly digital experience. And the best part, there's real revenue opportunity in a reimagined test drive offering. So with that, thank you so much. I'll be here in the chat. Would love to answer any questions that you have now, any questions you have on at the future. And I am the VP of Marketing, so I do have to make a plug. If you want to head over to our website at any point, whether you're a customer or not, we really do try to provide a lot of different ebooks, etc., things like this that just give you ideas on ways that you can rethink your business, not having to incur a ton of extra costs or figuring out entirely new ways of operating. So with that, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Hey, Courtney, just watching some of the things you just talked about with the test drives, and this season of COVID we were mentioning earlier has probably taken things that would have not have happened for the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and it's compressed it all into these last few months. And look at all the digital opportunities where maybe a dealer was like, maybe not today, Courtney, right? We'll think about it. Now this is right now. This is happening. It's current, and you're doing it at DealerWare.
It's exciting, but I think it's also really important to understand. I mean, one of the things at DealerWare, we try to have a lot of empathy for the fact that our customers are trying to figure out change in every single area. And so how do we go about making it easier for them to essentially meet their customers where they are, whether that's because of city mandates or just customer preferences? So I think it's really important as you're evaluating any digital tool is that it not only helps you to solve problems for tomorrow that seem exciting, but are really thinking about the problems you have today. And that's really the way we approach the market at DealerWare, is helping dealers to solve today's problems, but really allowing them to then, like I said, you don't get to put the toothpaste back in the tube. So beyond COVID, consumers are still going to want this flexibility and control over their experience. And dealers now have the ability to extend that and really provide a really differentiated customer experience.
And using your technology with things like the extended test drive, like you just talked about, that makes so much sense with customers nearing the end of their lease agreement, or maybe they're in equity, right, on their vehicle that they're driving now. And now you're leveraging the DealerWare platform to help the dealership to be able to do that. So that opens up a lot of new opportunities for the dealer. So you're multifaceted in what you're doing there.
Yeah, it is. And I think that's, when I talk about that holistic approach to the dealership is, the sales and service managers working together and understanding that Mrs. Jones is about 6 months out from the end of her lease. And so how can we make sure that we're putting her maybe in that, slightly larger SUV for her loaner vehicle, so that she's able to experience that over the course of her service appointment. And so not only are you getting her service revenue, but you're allowing her to experience that new car and can possibly have your salesperson offer her a deal when she comes back. So some really interesting opportunities there with the test drive, and I think are worth at least offering as options for your customers and experimenting with a bit.
Okay, Courtney, tell us one more time, how does our audience get in touch with you? And by the way, when you're getting in touch with Courtney at DealerWare, you're going right to the top. Okay, so how do they do it?
So you can check out I've got my phone number on here. Please, don't overuse it. But also Courtney@dealerware.com. And you can always reach out to us at sales@dealerware.com if you want to get right to the sales team. So thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great rest of the year. And cheers to a better year in 2021.
A great year. Yep. Courtney White from DealerWare here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, Jumanji Safari.
Well, Ted, I hear the sound of drums again, and you know what that means. Courtney, the only way we can get you back to Austin, Texas is for you to say,
Jumanji!
I don't know about you, but I've seriously considered blasting my way out of this jungle. But Ben left all the dynamite back in the hut. Is DYNATRON anything like dynamite? Let's find out. Oh, Les Silver, it's time to get in the game.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Les Silver is the executive chairman of DYNATRON Software, a great friend of the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Les, we are honored to have you back with us here today. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Ted, once again, thank you very much for having me.
Les, your segments are always so informative and educational, and I know you have something special in store for us today, so I'll let you go ahead and tell us what we have.
Excellent. Thank you again. You may recall a couple meetings ago, I discussed on my segment the drivers of service revenue, and two of those drivers, one is technical quality and the other is technician efficiency, are very key to being able to get the additional work that you've got actually perform through the shop in a quality way. We're looking all the time at different tools and techniques that can be effective in doing that. And one of the companies that we've come across recently is CYTK. And we decided that we would work with them in trying to get their product and their concept out to market. So I'd like to introduce the founder of CYTK, BRYAN Levenson, as well as Dave Ziegler, who's the VP of Operations and Customer Success, to talk about how their technology can help technicians become more effective. Bryan, over to you.
Thank you, Les, and such a great privilege to present to this incredible community of automotive executives. We greatly appreciate everyone's time and consideration of our company today. Thank you again. CYTK is a mobile artificial intelligence company. We leverage machine learning, natural language processing, and a diversity of mobile technologies, smashing them all together to create a true hands-free experience for techs in the service bay. Our team members have worked with and spawned from such companies as Twitter, Rolls-Royce Aerospace, and Amazon. We've all been working on machine learning and NLP platforms and applications for nearly a decade. In our early introduction to shops, we are quickly becoming known as the Siri of automotive, and in most cases answering questions without the techs having to move or set their tools down. As has always been the case, automotive technicians are a mobile workforce, and with their mass adoption of smartphones, they are proving an early adopter to mobile in the workplace. 99% of techs have phones in their pockets. Nearly 70% are accessing product manual and other light technical information. Techs are using smartphones in the service bay, and this behavior will continue to increase over the next decade. The economics in the service bay are directly impacted not only from the amount of time it takes a technician to fix a mechanical issue, but the quality of the fix itself. The physical barriers that technicians have faced for decades still hold true today. Most techs have to set their tools down, wash their hands, walk to a computer. Sometimes they have to wait in line. And then after all of that, they access older, tedious software interfaces. The end result is a mobile workforce that does not have the proper tools and software to improve their day-to-day processes. All the while, cars and trucks are evolving and innovating at a much faster pace than ever before. At CYTK, we believe the time has come to change the mobile context for the individual technicians, to enable them the tools and software required to become more successful in the bay, and to spend more time fixing than retrieving information. David, our head of customer success, will now show you what we believe will become the next generation of parts and services search, our AI-powered mobile application, CYTK Smart Search. Take it away, Dave.
Thanks, Bryan. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to provide an overview of our CYTK mobile assistant. We like to say it's as easy as ask a question, get an answer. Our mission is simply to help technicians be more productive. To begin the process, we click on the little plus arrow in the upper left, and the technician will have 3 ways to bring a vehicle into context. They can scan a VIN, type a VIN. If they don't have a VIN, they can select a year, make, model. Let's select this 2016 Chrysler and bring it into context. Now all searches going forward would be specific to that vehicle. I'm going to go through what I'll call quick hits, ask a question, get an answer. And our #1 feature is our quick service summary. I can activate the little blue mic down below through a voice command or a tap. Let me show you. Okay, CYTK, quick service summary. As I said, this is our #1 feature. It consolidates about 17 different items that a lube tech would use when performing a repair. Our research shows that the #1 item that they look for is how to reset the engine oil light, and you'll see that at the top. Below, you have engine oil type and capacity, oil filter part number, engine oil drain plug tightening torque, coolant type and capacity, brake fluid part number, wheel lug nut tightening torque, And then additional fluids. If it's a 4x4, you got transfer case as well as transmission, additional filters like cabin air filter or engine air filter. From an upsell perspective, we ask them for the top 3 items they'd like to upsell so they can have estimates for wiper blades, bulbs, and battery. So let me show you some other quick hits. Okay, CYTK, engine oil type.
Engine oil fluid type details identified as 5.8 quart.
You can tap at the mic at any time to stop her from talking. Okay, CYTK, coolant capacity.
Engine coolant fluid type details identified as 7.2.
Okay, CYTK, what is the procedure to reset the engine oil light?
Refer to screen for engine oil life indicator reset.
Okay, CYTK, cabin air filter part number.
Cabin air filter details identified as 6822.
Okay, CYTK, location of engine oil filter.
Refer to screen for engine oil filter component location.
Now I'm going to walk you through a workflow. So assuming a technician is performing a brake job and they may need a specification for the rotor, they may need an estimate as well as access to the procedure. So let me show you how you could get that quickly. Okay, CYTK, brake rotor specification. And this will bring back the minimum machine thickness of the brake rotor.
Here is a list of options that might be relevant.
So I can just scroll down there and you can see that you've got the readings. They take their measurements. They realize they have to replace the brake rotor. So let's get an estimate. Okay, CYTK, estimate to replace brake pads. And with brakes, I look up pads and it will bring back all the associated optional repairs along with that. So here you have the labor time. The shop has the ability to add a multiplier if they desire. It has the OEM part numbers, OEM MSRP pricing. This is for the fronts. You've got the rears. And then down below here, it also has optional procedures. So you have brake lines. Down below, you have brake rotors, as well as brake reface estimates. So now let's actually get the procedure. Okay, CYTK, front brake rotor replacement procedure. Now with this, I'd like to show you how you could actually navigate hands-free through the entire procedure.
Refer to screen for brake rotor remove and replace.
Step 3.
Step 3 is remove the 2 brake caliper adapter bolts. 3. Figure 1.
Next.
Next is step 4. Remove the brake caliper. 4. And adapter as an assembly and position aside. Figure 1.
Open figures.
Here are the figures.
Open figures 2.
Here is figure 2.
Close figures.
Closing figures.
So that gives you a view of what you could do hands-free right at the vehicle. Next, I'd like to talk a little bit about automotive nomenclature. I think we all know across 35 different OEMs, there are components that could be called the same thing that are really the same component. You know, being able to recognize that air conditioning is AC, recognizing that a sway bar and a stabilizer bar or a drive belt versus a serpentine belt. And we've trained our AI. So I just want to sort of show you how that works. Okay, CYTK, estimate to replace serpentine belt. And it will recognize that the serpentine belt is the same thing as a drive belt and point it to the proper.
Okay, here are the labor times.
So there you go. We also have several summaries. I showed you the quick service summary, but we have the same thing for air conditioning, fluids, or torque. Okay, CYTK, air conditioning specifications. So this will give you a summary list of all the various different fluid and torque specs for air conditioning.
Here is a list of options that might.
So you can get a feel for what we've got there. Other features, we have scheduled maintenance. Okay, CYTK, 60,000 mile scheduled maintenance.
Refer to screen for scheduled maintenance.
So this basically lays out what the OEM recommends at that mileage interval. You'll see little blue hyperlinks. So if I wanted to see the location of the cabin air filter, it provides an illustration.
Refer to screen for component location.
We also have recall. Okay, CYTK, Recall.
Refer to screen for recall.
So to recalls here, I can click through and look at the detail. It's got description, remedy, and contact information. Another very positive feature is where we search and we don't have content for a specific year, make, model, it'll take that search criteria and search the web for you. So I'll give you an example. Okay, CYTK. Engine thermostat replacement procedure.
Engine coolant thermostat remove and replace data is not available from our OEM sources. Refer to screen for a web search.
So there you have a YouTube video that may add value for the technician performing that repair. So everything I've done so far has been via voice. Our focus is really about helping the technician find the information, so we can allow them to navigate to content either by voice or touch. In the lower right-hand menu here, we have what we call a quick list menu. So everything I did by voice, I can also do by touch. So you'll see your quick service summary, your specs, procedures, parts and labor, recall. A neat feature we have here is history. I can go to history, and everything that I did for that vehicle is time-stamped, and I can click on any one of these items and go back to that content. We also allow users to give us feedback, and I can, in addition, I can do searches by category. So if I'm looking for shock and strut, I could go to exterior. I could go to suspension, and it would give you a list of all the content available. In this case, there's a shock and strut. So that is a summary.
Here is the vehicle list.
So I just want to say thank you for taking the time and learning a little bit more about our CYTK Smart Search product. Again, we're really about trying to help the technician be more productive. I want to thank you for the time. If anyone is interested in being part of a pilot, feel free to reach out at me at dz@cytek.io. Again, thank you. And Gene, I'll turn it back to you.
Dave and Brian, thank you. That's the first I've seen anything like that. And the voice, is that she sounds awfully familiar. That sounds just like the lady behind Siri. Les, where do you see this going? Where do you see this as part of the future? What's the big
technicians
picture?
are faced with two alternatives when they need information. Do they look it up or do they guess? And too often, because it's inconvenient to look it up, they just guess. We want to shift that around. We want to put them in an environment where it's so easy to look it up that they don't have to guess, and therefore they'll be more productive and they'll do a higher quality repair.
And you're taking out a lot of the steps, a lot of having to go look and hunt things down. And I noticed when you did that demo, it almost sounded like, Dave, like you were in real time doing that. It wasn't just set up for this particular Fixed Ops Roundtable. There was a little bit of a hang time there, but that's, I guess, what a technician would experience as well.
Exactly. And, going forward, our focus is going to be to extend the content, constantly grow and improve, what content we have available. But another area that we're focused on is performance.
Well, Les Silver has a history of the golden touch in the fixed ops and in the retail automotive arena. So, Les,
silver touch, not the golden touch.
Thank you for correcting me. So we're going to look forward to great things. Everybody, Brian, Dave, and Les, thank you so much on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you so much, Ted, for having us.
Well, Ted and everybody, I'm hearing the sound of drums, and that just means one thing. We got to get you guys back to the real world. And the only way we can do that is for someone to say,
Jumanji.
Our next adventurer bears a proud name, like Sir Anthony Hopkins, or another Oscar winner, Anthony Quinn. Who's Anthony Quinn? But it's what his company does that is important right now. You see, I think our Jumanji buses are lost, and I know DRAIVER can help. So we put out the call to you, Anthony Montero. Welcome to the jungle.
Anthony, you made it to Jumanji. Welcome.
Welcome. I'm trying to figure out what my special powers are still.
Yeah, we're glad that you're here. It's really exciting to have you, Anthony.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited. I watched some of the other TEDing shows, and it's just great. Lots of really great speakers. So super excited to be here for the first time.
The TED Talks, right?
The TED Talks, yeah, they're awesome.
Anthony Montero is the president of automotive retail at DRAIVER. And Anthony, we've had our eye on your company for quite a while and watch the success you're having. So, Anthony, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you. Hey, glad to talk about the things that are going on in fixed ops and the things that we're doing with dealers today to really kind of help them through these COVID times and put some services in place that I feel is really helping our clients and dealers around the country.
I've heard that your company, DRAIVER, is one of the top companies to watch in terms of growth for 2021. So, maybe tell us a little bit more about what you're doing in this space and the success that you're having.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we're super excited. We're one of those companies that kind of were, in the background doing a lot of stuff, really had a lot of traction in the fleet and with companies like Penske and Hertz and fleet companies moving box trucks at scale. We got into the automotive space a little bit, but the temperature was soft from automotive retailers saying, hey, I need to hire somebody to move my vehicles or do my pickup and deliveries, and they really weren't in the home delivery business much at all because customers, as you know, were flocking to dealerships and business was great. So we really grew our business significantly over the past 4 or 5 years. But then COVID hit and changed our trajectory in our automotive space. Grew at almost 3x the time of our fleet and retail space. Our bread and butter still is in that massive amount of vehicles that we move every day with the box trucks and fleet and rental cars. But automotive has been amazing in 2020, and it's all, I hate to say it, but it was because of COVID, and dealers weren't able to get their cars to customers, and customers stopped coming to showrooms, and they didn't want to come and visit the showroom to get their car serviced. So we already had a platform that was designed specifically to handle that need, and we've been blessed, and dealers have really embraced it now, and we keep learning new things that we never even thought of too, as more and more customers come on board and bigger organizations say, hey, I need you to pick up and drop off my service customers a car or shuttle them here or do these home deliveries, which is really kind of the big thing that's going on in remote test drives.
So we've been talking here at the Roundtable about service pickup and delivery for about a year now. And it was kind of something that was out on the horizon. There were some dealers doing it. They were very proactive until early this year, like you just said, when COVID hit. And now it's exploded, okay? And we hear everybody talking about it, no matter what the franchise. It's something that they do and they need to do or they need to get into the game. So, tell us more. How does it work?
So we built a logistics platform to connect dots, right? So a vehicle moves from point A to point B, and typically a person needs to drive that vehicle. In many cases, way more often than you would think, there's a deadhead. So the vehicle moves from point A to point B, and that driver needs to get back. So we saw the movement of Uber and Lyft in the old days, like we used to do it, we would just send a chase car, and that still happens. But if you think about a chase car, that's 2 people in an extra car. So the cost effectiveness of another person in an extra car is just waste. So what we built over the years is a platform that connects the dots. So if I move from point A to point B, our system's constantly looking at the destination. Where is the next origination that's the closest? And we connect those 2 pieces. So instead of shuttling that driver all the way back to point A to then now go to another location, we just move them over maybe a mile or 2 miles and use the Uber that way, right? So now you don't need the chase vehicle. So we start really triangulating or building these polygons that connect all these pieces of movement. And then when you start layering in, we're doing parts pickup and delivery, and we're doing moving customers, and we're doing the home delivery and remote test drives with service pickup and drop off, it becomes very apparent that you have all of these different vehicles being moved in a million different directions, that when you start connecting these dots, wow, the efficiencies really, really exponentially grow.
And you're in dealers today, are you not? Quite a few.
Oh yeah, all over the country, large, small dealers, and you know, that's the beauty. We feel the beauty of what we've designed is you can use your own employees. So if you have drivers and porters that you want to make these moves with, just put our software on top of it and make those guys efficient, right? Because we all know that we sit in the dealership and we've got these 3 or 4 porters or drivers, and now you've got, hey, where's Bobby? Where's Billy? I need him to take this car, move this car. And you're spending so much time of your day coordinating drivers when you simply just go, I need to click, move car A to location B, and that's it. The driver gets a notification on their app and they go and process that move. If you expand what your capacity is, so let's say I've got 4 drivers and now I need to move 20 cars today because I sold more, servicing more, and my business is growing. Well, I don't need to go hire 3 more drivers. We have a network of about 6,500 drivers, all vetted, all insured, that you can just, our system will just reach out into that marketplace, just like an Uber driver. When you need it on demand, they'll show up and they'll facilitate that move. And we've seen dealers that have taken their 4 porter drivers and converted them over onto our platform, because now they don't have to manage them. We manage the pay, we manage the insurance, and we're just trying to make it easy for this whole logistics of moving vehicles around. And we feel like we've really accomplished it. And that's, you know, that's why we're probably got some buzz.
You've got some stuff to show us. Let's, can we take a look?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So just a couple of slides. I'm not a big slide guy. I always like to go to live software or just have conversations about it. But you can see that, you know, these are real moves that dealerships make every single day in their businesses, and they do it at scale. And, you know, we measure everything in this business. It's so interesting. Like if you know, I've been in the CRM business and all different types of software around dealership operations, and we measure everything. We measure RO and effective labor rates, and how fast you answer your internet leads, and how long it takes to do an oil change, or how fast you can move vehicles through your recon, you know, so everything's measured. And then you ask a dealer, well, how much does it cost you to move a car? And they look at you with these blank stares, because there's really no measurement.
We've never measured it. We've never measured these things.
Never at all. And you scratch your head, because we measure everything. And then I start asking questions about, well, how much does it cost to move a car? Nobody knows. Even the controllers don't know. And when you start to measure it, you realize, oh my gosh, we move a lot of vehicles and we're super ineffective at it. We have all these people randomly running around ad hoc with chaos and no organization. So we brought this to the table, and in dealers in other businesses where, you know, we do business with a lot of companies around the country, and they see these efficiencies, and it's really a no-brainer at the end of the day, because we do the service pickup and drop off, reconditioning in detail and service. That happens, you know, we have a lot of clients around the country, car dealers and others, that have fleets of cars that need to move them back and forth to reconditioning facilities. And that's kind of a big thing. And I know that you guys have been talking about the reconditioning software platforms that have come out these days, and create the efficiency of taking the car from the auction to the front lot. Well, we're integrating with those guys. So as soon as that car's done, it's on that front lot. There's no human that gets involved. We dispatch a driver or your own driver, and they just pick that vehicle up and they move it to where it needs to go. Or they'll go grab them from the auctions. And again, this is all being done through logistics and automation. Refuel, wash, and deliver. A lot of fleet and rental cars companies do that all the time. Home delivery, that's, you know, huge now with the Carvana on the scene, and everybody trying to fit into that model of how do I get a car dropped off at the customer's home. Trade pickup inspections. Think about our business of how many vehicles get traded in, and now we're trying to do this deal without ever seeing the car. And, you know, we can just go pick the car up and bring it and have somebody physically inspect it, so you don't misappraise it and lose money that way. Expos, lot to lot moves, and you know, it's crazy how many lot to lot moves there are these days. Even I didn't realize how many there was until I started to see them.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, this is excellent.
And then, so we're also doing other things, you know, when you do service pickup and delivery, sometimes there's paperwork that needs to get done, whether the customer's signing or digitally signing, but our agents can facilitate that, or we can put it all into the app so it's done through the dealer's agent. And then the customer ride back and forth. It may be that, you know, I have the customer's car and it's ready and I just want to issue an Uber or a Lyft driver to bring that customer down without having to shuttle the car. And the other one that's become really popular, and for a fixed stops session, parts on demand, cars on the lift. I realize I need a part that I don't have in stock. I look and talk to my parts driver. He's 2 hours out on his route. The parts store down the street or maybe a sister dealership has my part. A couple of clicks and $15 or $20 later, I can have that part there in 15 or 20 minutes, or you know, whatever time it would take the driver to get there and back, and continue to work on that vehicle because I can do those hot shot parts moves now really quickly and on demand with the same driver network that's cobbling together all these different types of moves. So this is just an example of, this is actually a dealership that's moving vehicles back and forth between their facility, sister facilities, home deliveries, parts pickups, and all these things. So if you look over to the bottom right of your screen, all those represent, the solid lines represent one-way moves. The dotted line represents bidirectional, or back and forth. I'm dropping off a car and picking one up and bringing it back. And the heavier or thicker the line, the more density. So I'm moving 4 or 5 vehicles, the thicker that line gets. Well, imagine humans trying to figure out what's the most efficient way to calculate that mass. Our AI puts that all into the system, and it calculates how fast can I do it with the least amount of drivers in the least amount of time, thus creating a massive amount of efficiencies with our customers and dealers. And that's why we're seeing a lot of adoption here, because they realize that some of these things are really hard to do manually, and it doesn't make sense to. We've automated so many things in this business. Why not automate the movement of your vehicles, which happen at scale like they do? And this is just another quick example of what it looks like when I take that mass and I boil it down to, this is the most effective way to move these 3 vehicles back and forth and assign those drivers. So take all of that and boil it down. And really our message is, you know, we can help you by taking all of that chaos and boiling it down to really effective and efficient movement and management and tracking and scalability. Because you can, you know, a lot of people talk about growth, and I think I even brought it up, like, hey, you can grow your business, you've got more deliveries. Well, what happens when you have to shrink your business? We had it happen with COVID when dealers had to furlough and lay off employees. With a platform like this, you only pay, you know, I sound like that commercial for, I think it's Liberty Mutual, only pay for what you use. And this is exactly the same thing, right? If I need 3 drivers, I'm paying for 3. If I need 10, I'm paying for 10. And guess what? I have dealers that someday will use 20 drivers and the next day use 0, right? And they might use 0 for 2 days because that's just how their business is their ebb and flow is. And they just love this because they really are only paying for the pieces that they use, and they don't have this other overhead or infrastructure that they're investing in.
And you're integrated. Are you not into other platforms as well?
Many platforms, and more. And what we're seeing, it's interesting because, you know, earlier we were the little guy and we're reaching out going, hey, can you integrate with us because of whatever? And, you know, they kind of give us the, you know, the Heisman of we're busy and we've got all these other things. As you get more and more bigger customers that come on and say, hey, I need you to integrate with those guys, all of a sudden the conversations get a little bit more interesting. And, you know, we're probably integrated into about 30 different platforms now. And we actually have probably at least that many in the queue that we're integrating into service appointment platforms, digital retailing platforms. I know Team Velocity is one of them that we just finished with another larger client of ours. Many digital retailing platforms now, because they want the customer to just go, hey, I want you to deliver my car on Thursday at 3 o'clock. And guess what? That comes to us, the order gets filled, and there you go. The Carvana experience happens. And the same thing with service pickup and delivery as well. So lots of integrations.
How do dealers, fixed ops managers, service directors watching today, how do they reach out to you? How do they get the conversation started?
So you can email me. I think it's flying across the screen there. You know, I know we're in the jungle, but, you know, through technology and powers that we have in Jumanji, we can put things on the screen like my email address and our phone number, or just go to our website. We have a little form on the website, and there's even, you can schedule a demo there. Just pick a time and a date, and we'll do a 20-30 minute demo. And we can set a dealer up literally in a couple of days. We had a dealer did a demo on Thursday last week, and they were live running trips on Friday.
Love it. Fantastic. Great work. Anthony Montero, President of Automotive Retail at DRAIVER, here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Anthony, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Well, Ted, I hear the sound of drums beating, and that just means one thing. We've got to get Anthony back to reality. And the only way to do that is for Anthony to say,
Jumanji.
Listen very carefully, Gene and Ted. I see you might need my help getting there through the dangers of the Jumanji jungle. I can help. You see, I have a very particular set of skills I've acquired over a very long period of time. I'm truly something in the jungle kitchen. I make a great palm leaf soup, served, chilled, with monkey-picked oolong tea. Or I can run really fast when being chased by an angry teenage daughter, because I bought her a cheap karaoke machine for her birthday. Or I can sing Jumanji and hope I reprise my role as a Jedi in Star Wars. George Lucas, call me.
Do you have a great product you want to get in front of auto dealers across the country, and specifically their fixed ops departments? You know, their service, parts, and body shop? For over 15 years, Fixed Ops Magazine has been putting service-related products like yours in front of franchise auto dealers across the country. There simply is no better way to reach every dealer in the USA all at once. Hi, I'm Ron, the publisher of Fixed Ops Magazine, which is both a digital at fixedopsmag.com and print magazine that reaches out to over 38,000 subscribers who influence what products are purchased in the over 16,000 dealers across the country. Fixed Ops Magazine may even publish your article about a topic you are an expert and have a real passion for in this industry. Every article has the author's contact info so they can reach you. Write an article, run an ad, and an e-blast. We call that our bundle for success. You won't believe how great a deal it is. So to get started, call, text, or email me and I'll tell you more. We are 100% devoted to the franchise stores so we don't waste your time or money. We are laser focused on your prospects. Fixed Ops Magazine, the #1 way to get your product in front of auto dealers today. www.fixedopsmag.com. Ron at fixedopsmag.com. 714-803-5476. Fixed Ops Magazine, the #1 way to get your product in front of auto dealers today.
This is our scanning system, which consists of a touchscreen computer and a 60-page per minute duplex scanner. I am going to show you how to scan a typical repair order. Bring up our dealer scanning application. Click on Repair Orders. Place the repair order in the scanner and click on the Scan Repair Order. This will start the scanning process, which will scan all pages front and back and automatically read the repair order number. After scanning is complete, the repair order number will be shown on the screen. For this example, the repair order number is 995957. You can now confirm that the repair order number matches the number on the screen. Then click OK, which converts the scan pages into a PDF document and saves them into the system. To view the scanned pages, simply click on the View button, which will bring up the repair order where you can easily view and navigate all the scanned pages. You also have the ability to scan small items like battery test printouts or service coupons. Simply load the small items into the scanner and click the Scan Other Items button, and they will be scanned and added to the existing repair order. You can view the scanned items by clicking the View button where you can see the items at the bottom of the PDF document. It is simple. Now, I am going to show you how service advisors, accounting, warranty administrators, parts department, and technicians can easily retrieve the scanned repair orders. Each person will have the repair order viewer on their computer, which allows them to look up repair orders by repair order number, VIN number, or customer name. For this example, we will use the repair order we just scanned, which is 995957. Click Search. The scanned record will be shown, and by clicking on the scanned date, you can see the contents of the scanned repair order. Here, users can print or download or email the repair order document. It is simple. How much does this cost? You don't need to contact us or email us for a quote. We'll give it to you right now. $500 installation fee. $500 monthly service fee per unit. Unlimited scanning. No long-term contract, just month to month. Dealer scanning. Organize your dealership documents, saving time, space, and money.
I love the moon. Moonlit river cruises, moons over my hammy at Denny's, and Owen Wilson in Wedding Crashers. Not to be confused with our next guest, for whom the drums are sounding, Owen Moon.
Owen Moon, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. What was that like?
Holy cow, Gene. Thanks, man. That was awesome. What an entrance.
I tell you, Owen, we've seen a lot of things this year. We've gone back to the future. We've had the greatest show. We had the tire summit, but I hear that it's a real jungle out there. And here we are at Jumanji. So Owen Moon is the CEO of Fixed Ops Digital, a great friend of the Fixed Ops Roundtable. And Owen, go ahead and take it away. Show is yours.
Ted, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Gene. Always a pleasure to be here. Took the last one off, and I know Kevin Colma, one of my partners, spoke at it. But today, I'm excited to talk to you guys today about a few important topics that I think every fixed ops department should really focus in on. My presentation is called "It's a Jungle Out There," and what I thought was, since we're in this Jumanji theme and we're kind of talking about safaris and things like that. I'm going to bring you guys some information about digital marketing, but I'm going to do it safari style. And let me tell you what that means. Obviously, Fixed Ops Digital, we're the premier service, marketing, and technology company in the automotive industry. And, we have been the leaders, for about 3.5 years now of really helping dealerships transition away from more of those traditional marketing strategies and really focusing on the digital side. So to kind of kick this off, I'm going to talk about, you're going on a safari, right? And when you go to a safari, you kind of got to decide how you're going to do it, right? So the first thing you can do is you can talk about and you can look at a self-driving safari. Now, this is a kind of a budget safari option where you drive and guide yourself in a rented vehicle. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't have a lot of experience in safaris, and so I think this would be probably one of the last things I would want to do. But it's an option, and it's a cheaper option because obviously you're kind of doing it yourself. So when you look at digital marketing, I kind of look at it in terms of iframing or using code injected marketing software as that same scenario, right? And what do I mean by that? A lot of times when you are using software or you're using code injected type solutions, it's really plug and play. There's no customization. I don't care if you're a Porsche dealership or a Kia dealership. It's kind of a one size fits all. You really, kind of get what you get. Also, there's no strategy, right? One of the things I'm going to talk about today is the importance of having the right partner to maximize your results and to work on your strategies based on what's needed inside your department. Poor user experience. Many times I see technology that's kind of good for the vendor, but not necessarily good for the customer. And I think, in some cases that can be a challenge. And then finally, no long-term benefits. What do I mean by that? Everything's great during the relationship, right? You're working, you're doing things, and then you decide that you're going to move on from that vendor. Well, when you're using software, a lot of times what you can do is, or a lot of times what happens is that vendor will just simply flip the switch, and all the work that you've put in over the last 6 months or year ends up, just basically being for nothing. So, you definitely want to look at, not only the money that you're spending today, but what it's going to do for you down the road or in the future. So looking at another option, right? Another way that you can, book a safari is what they call a guided safari. And a lot of times that's going to be done, with a ranger. And that's what they call these safari guides. And a ranger is somebody that has extensive experience and knowledge of the area and the animals inhabiting it, right? So you want to have that guy that knows the terrain, that knows what they're doing. And at the FixOps digital company, we have just that. Our executive team has years of experience helping dealerships with their digital marketing strategies. I know myself, I'm in my 20th year in the business. Kevin is also 20 years in the business. And you can see that both Chris and Julie are, in their 14th and 11 years, collectively. Another thing you might look at when you're looking for a good partner or a good safari partner is, have they won any awards or they have any accolades? We were actually the 2020 Automotive Awards winner for the FixOps category earlier this year, right before the NADA conference. So, you definitely want to make sure that, when you find the right type of safari, that you're working with an experienced team. But you know what? There's another part of this that really matters. And when you're looking at a safari, a tracker is probably the most important person in the group. Why is that tracker important? Because they work in tandem with the rangers or with the guides. They can spot the game from a special seat in the front of the vehicle, and they're the ones that really make or break the success of the safari. If you don't have a good tracker, all you're doing out is going for a truck drive in an uninhabited area. So our trackers are some of the best in the business. We call them our performance team. They're based out of Chicago, and they are the team that works hand in hand with your dealership. In fact, our performance team has a combined 50 plus years of digital marketing experience. They're the ones that dig into your analytics. They talk strategy. They really help you just drive your business. And so when you're looking for a good tracker, you really want to make sure that you have the right partner there as well. So let's move on. When you're about ready to look for a safari, or when you're going to get out and start talking to somebody about going on the safari, you want to see the big five. The big five in a safari are buffalo, elephants, leopards, lions, and rhinoceros. If you go on a safari and you see all five of those, most safaris would say that that's a success. Well, just like the big five, we have our own big five. In fact, FixOps Digital right now has 25 dealer groups with 5+ active stores. That means that not only are dealerships giving us the confidence and the opportunity to work with one of their stores, but they're bringing their entire group to us to be that digital partner when it comes to the FixOps side of the business. The other thing we work on is we focus on 5 key strategies, right? From specials management to SEO and building that nice, rich content for your customers, bringing those good videos. People love video. They love to listen to videos and learn through video. And then finally, driving more business to your website or more customers to your website using proven strategies like pay-per-click, display advertising, geofencing, and even social with Facebook and Instagram that really help drive more people that are looking for your services into your service department. So let's move on. When you look at your safari, the playground that you go to, or where you actually, go to actually kind of look for those big game and kind of see what's out there is what they call the bushveld, right? The bushveld is lined with shrubs, trees, abundant game. It's really where you're going to go out and you're going to experience the safari. Well, in digital marketing, Google is our bushveld, right? It's the space where there's all kinds of opportunity. And unfortunately, going back to that self-guided Safari or that iframed or code-injected software scenario, this is where really the rubber meets the road. When you have solutions that Google cannot read, you obviously do not have the opportunity to conquest and bring those customers into your service department. So our trackers or our performance team work hand in hand to keep up to date with all the Google updates and changes to make sure that we're constantly using the best practices that Google lays out. And Google tells us what to do. They have a playbook. So we basically make sure that all of our solutions are best practices to get maximize the opportunity that Google puts in front of us. Now, here's just an example of that, right? This is a report that we put together for some of our dealers that tell us the day and time of the week where we're getting the most traffic to the website. As you can see, there's a lot of areas in that deep blue that we get very heavy traffic. Why is this important? Because when you know this kind of information, it can help you make decisions about your marketing, when you want to run your Facebook ads, when you want to run your paid search. These are all opportunities, and only working in the Google platform can you actually get this information and make sure that it's accurate. So we use Google, and that is the standard, the industry standard, to get the results and to actually look at the results that we're showing our dealerships. So let's talk a little bit about the Safari hides. These are slightly camouflaged shelters that serve as a site for game viewing. Now, what makes these important when you're on your Safari is that it allows you to kind of hide from the big game, right? Hide from the animals so you can see them and spot them and watch them. Well, Safari hides might be good for going out on a safari. They're definitely not good when it comes to digital marketing. When we look at reporting, we want to make sure that we're transparent. So what we use at FixOps Digital and what every vendor should be using is Google Analytics. Google Analytics is a non-biased, third-party, industry-leading platform that everybody on the sales side of the business have been using for years. And so we've adapted that same reporting with our dealerships and with our program. Our trackers provide easy to understand metrics, focusing on what's most important to your website, which is your fixed ops traffic. For example, I'm showing you an example of a Toyota dealer looking at year-over-year results. From 2019 to 2020, we were able to show the dealership an increase of 87% in sessions and an increase of 86% in users. And in fact, of those users, new users were up 74%. So what are new users? Those are people that have never been to your website before. It's the ultimate conquest play, and it gives your dealership the chance to win new business as opposed to continuing going back to your current customers and trying to get more business out of them. This is a great way for your dealership to expand that customer reach and get more customers into your drive. And finally, I'm going to show you a quick report here of page views. Now, our page view report in this particular case shows a 6-month prior to the current 6 months. And as you can see, we increased this Nissan dealership's page views by nearly 138%. The reason why we did that is because not only did we build that nice flow for that customer to see what offers the dealership has and then learn more about them, but because we did it the right way and we built it through the dealership's website, Google was able to pick these pages up and actually rank them for us and allow our dealerships to get more action. And then also you can see that we were able to increase the amount of people that went from the service menu page or our service specials page to actually scheduling service, which ultimately at the end of the day, that's the most important metric that you can actually look at. You can say, hey, we've got hundreds of prints that came in. We got a bunch of people that texted our coupon, maybe downloaded it into the Apple Wallet. Those are all great and they hold some weight, but the ultimate test is how many more people are actually scheduling service with your dealership. That's where the money is, and that's what we really focus on. So let's summarize. I've went through a few things today, but it really comes down to these 4 things. Your fixed ops department deserves a custom strategy. If you don't have a custom strategy, then you have a cookie cutter strategy that everybody else is using. You also need to work with an experienced digital marketing company, somebody that actually understands how to put this together for you. And not only that, but your digital marketing partner should provide a full solution, not just software. And finally, your digital marketing partner should be using Google Analytics to ensure that they have accurate data and reporting so you understand what's actually going on. As we've kind of come to see, software can be manipulated, not to say anybody's doing that, but sometimes it's really easy to manipulate software. And Google Analytics is that proven analytics platform that is trusted by thousands of dealerships and frankly, hundreds of thousands of businesses throughout the country. So that's my presentation. I do appreciate your time today. Obviously, I've talked to a lot of you that are on here. Maybe you have some new faces on the roundtable today. I'd love to chat with you. My contact information is below, and we look forward to possibly learning more about your business. And either way, good luck as you move into 2021.
Oh, and I want that experience guide. I don't want to go it alone in that in that land, in that Jumanji where there's a lot of beasts and a lot of unknowns out there. So I want the experience. And you folks clearly have it on the fixed ops side. You've got that down. And
yeah, going
it shows with these dealer groups which keep adding stores, to your portfolio.
Yeah,
so,
going it alone is definitely not safe, right? So
and I want to make one more point. You mentioned Google Analytics as the standard. I would even say the gold standard, right? And
yeah,
you got to be careful that when you have a company that does the work that you do, that Google Analytics is the measuring tool that shows the results, because those are real results, and those are trusted results as well. So
absolutely, yes, 100%. So, well, thanks, guys. I appreciate the time today. Obviously, you've got a great show so far, and I look forward to seeing more to come today. So,
Owen Moon, the CEO of Fixed Ops Digital, here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Owen, we are so excited that you've been with us today, and I learned a lot in that episode and on that safari tour that we just took. In fact, I'm making sure that I am in my safari hide right now to avoid the dangers of the jungle. But I also hearing the sound of drums right now, and that can only mean one thing. We got to get you back to the real world. And the only way that we can do that is for you to say that special word,
Jumanji.
Most of our next guests have already found their way into the game. They've been playing the game of fixed ops for a long time, but not quite as long as one night in the jungles of Jumanji. Please welcome our host, Ted Ings, and the Future of Retail Training panel.
Well, thank you, Kara. Everyone, please join us in welcoming the Future of Retail panel. And we've got some giants here with us on the screen today, starting with Tully Williams, the Fixed Ops Director at the Niello Company out in Sacramento, California. David FOUTZ is the Vice President of Sales at Cox Automotive and oversees brands such as X-Time, Kelley Blue Book, and DealerTrack. Fred FORDIN is the Vice President of Dealer Professional Services at CDK Global. Welcome. Also have with us today Laurie Foster, who is the founding partner at Foster Strategies Group. And last but not least, Noel Walsh, who is the CEO of NWA Conquer What You Chase Sales Training. Everyone, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. The Fixed Ops Roundtable has been known for bringing to light a lot of technology and a lot of emerging technologies. Yet, I don't want to focus so much on the technology side of the business at this segment. It's been said that in a high-tech world, your most important asset is still people. So I want to start with Tully, and then we'll go around the group. What challenges have you experienced in growing your people during the last 6 months, during this season? And what specifically have you done as a result? Tully, I'll start with you.
Well, this last 6 months has been a massive challenge, but it really boils down to hiring the right people and finding the right people for your store. And as dealerships are growing and getting stronger through COVID, we believe in culture is the key, and then our employees believing in that culture. And to me, that is the number one issue. And as we are growing now, as business is picking up in sales and fixed, is that we're seeing that we are being much more pickier on picking the right person that wants to come to work for the Niello company. Not just we're hiring a body because we need to fill a spot. And I think today's world is going to be all about the culture, hiring the right people, and making it all work right.
You know, Tully, we've talked for years in this business about culture at the retail level, but I think it's even more relevant today than ever before with what's happening. And I hear more people than ever, discussing that. So I agree with you. Dave Foutz over at Cox Automotive. What do you think?
So pre-COVID, as an industry, and I'll speak about what we're seeing dealers do and hearing dealers tell us about how they're addressing these challenges. Pre-COVID, 43% turnover was about the average we're seeing in service departments. So as Tully said, hiring is key. It takes an average of 54 applicants to fill an open position. And our studies and research shows that 1 out of 3 applicants never get a phone call from a dealership. So there's an opportunity here, and some dealers are using technology to help them more quickly connect with applicants. Use the Zoom call in order to have those interviews more quickly and reach more people, as opposed to the traditional methods of having everyone come in before you give them an interview. And shrink that turnaround time between an application and an interview. And, dealerships are able to fill their open positions more quickly and interview more candidates, which ultimately leads to better selections. Another thing we're hearing about is, dealers are seeing they have to really train people from the ground up. The skill sets that used to be there or used to be accessible are less accessible. So, there's 2 ideas here that I think are really connected, and it's career pathing, and then also just having that robust training plan for your team. Let's talk about technicians. I've talked to several dealerships who have said, look, no matter who the technician is, they all go through the same process. They start in the express lane. They have to get certified on 4 key skill sets as an express tech by our other team members. And then they get to move on to diagnostics, where they train and follow around an expert diagnostics tech. Then they get to follow a journeyman, and then finally they're on their own. Now, obviously, someone coming in with a lot of experience can go through that process quickly, but they don't assume that someone has the right skill sets just because they've been working at another dealership for 5 or 6 years. And then what it has done is open up their aperture to be able to hire less experienced people with the right acumen and the right aptitudes and help them progress. And maybe they take 2 years before they get through that journey. But when they get there, there's a lot of loyalty and a lot of skill set. Similar idea for service writers, promoting from the BDC to become a service advisor. It gives a career path, but it also helps you select people who have the right communication skills and follow-up skills to succeed on the lane. So a couple of things we're seeing with dealers trying to adjust to grow their people.
Dave, I want to kind of bounce that off Tully, because Tully, you're in a real dealership right now, and I know you and Dave have worked together in the past. Does the Niello company, do you actually have a training plan like he described? Is that something that you subscribe to?
Yes, 100%. I think that, David's spot on. When we're going into colleges and we go into junior colleges and high schools, the key issue is that people are afraid that they do not have a career pathway when they come to a dealership. And what we have planned out is a pathway of how to advance and then how much money they're going to make. And technicians is probably the key issue on that, where you start off in the lube rack and you become a foreman at the highest level. And we call it the pathway to $60 at some of our stores, or $40 based on the brand. But it's a pathway, and it's on their path. So if they're slower at training, it might take 5 or 10 years. But if they're a superstar that want to train, they can accelerate, maybe 2 or 3 years or 4 years based on the manufacturer training guidelines, because some of them are not easy. And then service writers the same way. It's probably a smaller path, but people want to know. And you know what the key issue here is? Are you communicating with your employees on their pathway? Are you talking to your porters about their pathway? Are you talking about technicians? Oh, we all talk about technicians, but porters, detailers, service writers, and how can we become a service writer or become a service manager? So those pathways are a huge deal, and that's what's going to build the culture, because if they feel secure and feel happy where they work, they're the best employees ever.
Fred FORDIN, I have a lot of respect for Tully. I've known him for a number of years, and he oversees a lot of employees over in Sacramento. Fred, what do you think? What's your perspective?
So I also have a lot of respect for Tully. I've known him a long time. He's a customer. He's a friend. And he hit that ball right on the mark. One of the things that we see in our consulting business, we're into literally thousands of dealers every year. And one of the things that we see is that, because of COVID, the way dealers are embracing their employees has changed. All of a sudden, dealer principals, management has had to suddenly focus on the well-being of their employees, because ultimately, in everybody we've ever spoken to, that's what comes first, right? Before, what are we going to do next with the business? Before, what changes do we have to make? Before, how do we safeguard the well-being of our customers? Is we got to safeguard the well-being of our people. And so all of a sudden there is a new opening, if you will, to investing further in those employees. And part of our consulting attempts with a dealership, and I say attempts because you're often walking in and having to create some kind of culture change to get something to stick long term. And so part of what we do is to work toward reducing, Dave hit the numbers on the head. When you got a 43% turnover rate on technicians, that's an awful way to try and run a business. And of course, we know it's way higher in sales. And it costs tens of thousands of dollars for every new employee. And you start to multiply that out times the lousy retention rate that we have as an industry, it really adds up to a lot of money. So it's in every dealer's best interest to invest heavily in the recruiting and really powerful training of their associates to get them to stick long term.
I agree with you. And Dave, some of the numbers you just shared a little while ago are very, very powerful. And by the way, it's great. We don't get this opportunity every day to have both Dave FOUTZ and Fred FORDIN here on the same panel together. So I'm so honored to have you both here. So Fred, I agree with you very much. Laurie Foster, what do you think?
So I echo and align much of what the previous three gentlemen were saying, whether they're coming from inside the dealership or at a vendor looking in. And with my experience being in both of those worlds, I've lived in both of those, and I still to this day help both types of clients. I think dealers would find it fascinating that vendors face many of the same challenges that they wag their fingers at their dealers about. So you're not alone, dealer friends. Many of these things are echoed throughout our vendor partners as well. But I take that a slightly different angle here. I think culture is great, but culture is purpose that has to be shared by everyone. And career path, we often think of it like this, and like you do this and this and this, and someday you're going to arrive at what I have deemed as the pinnacle. But that doesn't mean that that's what that person has in their heart as their hopes and dreams and aspirations. Not everyone's the same. Most of us who are setting those roles and setting those paths, we are idealists, we are self-starters, we might even be entrepreneurs and type A, but we need dealerships and organizations full of all types of people. So what I say is, let's take a look at it like preparing people for continuous improvement in whatever their role is. So progression, while as we normally think about it going like this, let's think about it as extension and depth also, so that these people become longer term employees who carry your brand and your purpose in the community and inside your organization longer, so that they become a more valued asset with every passing day, and that those people feel that that is purposeful, meaningful, and recognized as well. When we think about even our general managers, let's think about like what sort of continuous improvement plan do we have for them? We have placed them at the pinnacle, yet we need to still be reassessing and potentially even recertifying general managers on a quarterly basis, and making sure not just if they're not working out, fire them. That's a ridiculous plan. Anybody can do that. But let's take a look at, as a dealer principal, let's constantly be expecting more, holding our general managers even accountable, and watch what happens with your teams when they understand that everyone is on the same path. So be prepared for everything. Recognize achievements across all levels, whether people are on this acceleration path that you envision, or they're actually accelerating and bringing more value to the role and those around them, and becoming a more valued member of your dealership community and the community at large. Those are the people who wave the flag for you for 20 years, not 2 years.
You know, Laurie, great points. Earlier this morning, Chris Saracino, our keynote speaker, who's the vice president and partner, Laurie, over at Kelly Automotive Group, told us that he actually does the new orientation training at his dealership personally, and along with his partner. And they have stores in both Florida and in Pennsylvania. And you know, normally they would have done it in bigger groups, but now they're doing it obviously with distancing and so on, doing it in much smaller groups. So I thought that was pretty fascinating. Fred, at the last roundtable that you and I spoke, we mentioned the importance of being able to get to the dealer, right? Getting to that top person in the dealership. And I know, I'm sure for Dave FOUTZ as well, and all of us, that's a challenge sometimes with our team. Fred, let me just bounce it right back to you real quick. What do you think about what Laurie just said about getting the dealer and the training, for them as well? Is that something that's often overlooked, or what do you think?
I think it's right on target, and unfortunately, I think it's overlooked, probably 95% of the time. I think if a new employee is coming in to join a team, and the guy at the top is the one who walks in and makes the introduction and starts the process, that sends a message that's unmistakable. No one else has the authority or the power to send that message, and so I think it's a huge thing.
Noel Walsh, I've been an admirer of your work for a very, very long time, and I got to say, you and I talked a while back, and you were ramping up the online portion of the training that you do. What are some of the challenges that you've seen in the past 6 months or so, and how are you working through them?
Yeah, so it is nice that I have my online training ramped up with the COVID happening. It makes it easier for me to give online assignments, rather than doing the in-house training without big groups and lots of travel. But really, right now the big kind of hiccup I've seen is first off, what a lot of the other panelists talked about, is you do have to have oversight from the management, and you have to have parameters of what you want the salespeople, service people, really what you want them doing. Because if they're watching 5 training modules, 8 training modules, taking a 20 question course, multiple choice, they're going to spend 20, 25 minutes. If they do that 4 or 5 days a week, that's going to instill in them what they should be doing on a daily basis. So you don't have to, rely on management coming and making sure that they're doing it. It's all digital online. You can look up all the stats. But when they continually do that and they hear those correct habits and they take the 20 minutes, 25 minutes out of their day, it's like working out. Even if you just walk, my wife was just pregnant. We talked about, we'd walk 2 or 3 times a day, even if it was just around the block, just to kind of loosen her up and make her feel good, get some fresh air and different things like that. Same thing with training, is if they're training every day, they're probably not going to double or triple their sales in a month or 2. But when they start to see another sale or 2 each week, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 more each month, and they do that, then you don't have to have as much oversight because they see that it works. And they become conditioned, and then they learn the capacity, because sales is about going up, whether you're in service or on the retail side. It's about slowly going up in intervals so you can manage that growth, that you have the capacity, that you're conditioned. So I definitely think that you need to have oversight from the management, have a process that the salespeople follow, have the proper oversight, make sure that they're using it. And when the salespeople are using it and they're seeing the results, then they're not going to contest using it, they're gonna they're gonna really endure using it and appreciate using it when they see the results from the training.
Hey, and by the way, congratulations to you and your wife on the birth of your new son, Colt. So congratulations, Noel, on all that personal success you're having as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You know, you mentioned conditioning. Tully, I just want to, something that came to mind, John Anderson, who was a dealer that you worked for many, many years ago over in San Jose, California, and a very well-known name in the business, said that he viewed training as conditioning as well. So Noel, when you mentioned that, yeah, I see that. I believe that very much. And it's that the day-to-day, the little stuff, okay? And that we may not think that it matters, but yet it does significantly. So I appreciate that. Noel, let me come back to you. What changes do you feel are in store for retail training in the next 6 months to 1 year, going into 2021?
Well, I think you're going to see less conferences. You're going to see less in-house. It's going to be a lot more online. I think also what a lot of salespeople need to do and a lot of training needs to have. My training does. There's a lot of training out there that's touching base on this, but really teaching salespeople, management to engage with the customers online even more. If a customer is interested in a vehicle or they call in wanting some information, they may be nervous or apprehensive to come into the dealership. So do a short video, 20, 30, 45 seconds, a minute, get that over the customer, get it over quick, follow up. But I think now more than ever, especially in this digital retail age that we live in, people see something, they want to click a button, they want it, they want all the information, they want reviews, they have all the information in front of them. So give them all the information they want, follow up, and then ask for the sale like we have in the past. But I think now as important as ever is all retail and service departments do need some kind of online training. Still do if it's the small groups with the service manager or the service director or sales manager, general sales manager, or whatever the case is. Do smaller trainings. If you can have trainers come in also. Sometimes I always say, whenever I talk to clients, I say, hey, you're their dad or their mom, I'm their coach, right? So they're going to detest everything you tell them to do. They're going to see everything I tell them to do is for growth. And so just really utilize that, all the assets and let your people know that it's about video right now. It's about social media. It's about using certain platforms online, using them the right way and not using too many platforms, because we all know we have like 200 apps on our phone and we're like, what does this even do? Why do I even have this? So that we have the 3, 4, 5 platforms that we're comfortable with, that we see results in, that we can really manicure and work for the majority of sales and gross and commission and sales and what we all want.
Noel, when you and I last met in Las Vegas in February, who would have thought that we would be doing that conference virtually now and have had so many opportunities. So it shows how resilient the auto industry is as a whole. Tully, what do you think? Next 6 to 12 months in retail training, what's the future hold?
I think that when you look at a dealership side, I think that what we want to look at as a dealer is, one, do you have a training platform or a training program in place? But it really is, are we asking our vendors for help? I mean, without a Fred at CDK, without a David at X-Time and at VIN Solutions, we would have not made it through COVID. And they have trainers for us for free. And what we want to do is that, are we embracing that? And two is, I think that when we look at making our employees great, and I love what Laurie said earlier, is that think about what makes an employee happy and see that their self-worth is, are they doing well? We show it up there on the TVs to all of our stores. We want to be so transparent to show customers, not really customers, but employees, you're doing a great job and thank you. It's not about the negative. It's all about the green of every day. So we want to go out to our sales staff. We want to go out to our technicians, our service advisors, our porters, our detailers, and tell them how great they are. Using the tools that we have in place today, maximizing all of those vendors and moving forward with our employees, 10-year best employees, the culture comes.
And Tully, I bet a lot of dealerships and dealer groups are not fully utilizing, resources at Cox Automotive or at CDK Global the way they should maximize that. Tully, I've never asked you, approximately how many employees do you oversee at your group?
So we have, and when it comes to the fixed side, there's probably about 400, 450. The technicians, riders, porters, detailers. It's all good stuff. And then the whole point of it is that it's not about fixed and sales. It's all about the store. And I think that when you bring that culture about the store, because when we do our statement meetings or data meetings, I like to call them, is that we want the service manager and the sales manager in the same room together. We want them to know what's going on both sides, right? So they can help each other. I mean, the whole goal is that to educate, motivate, make it happen.
Man, love it. Hey, Dave, I love the fact that Tully's got over his shoulder there. He's got, in real time, like he said, transparent. He's showing numbers and results and where we are for the day and, for the month and so on. So, Dave, what do you think? Next 6 to 12 months?
So, maybe this is a little bit back to basics, but I think that there is an opportunity to, as we've been talking about, use technology to keep connecting with team members on what's important. Consumer expectations are continuing to accelerate, and we need the behaviors of the team members in the service department to keep pace with that. From my experience, it's really important to help our teams connect with the why we're doing things, and helping them see the behaviors that you're asking them to adopt and how those will help them personally succeed, help the company succeed by improving retention of your customers. Practically speaking, it's tough. When you're serving customers in a service department from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. or whenever your hours are, and you're asking your team to come in 45 or 15 minutes early, we're going to have a daily stand-up at 6:45 a.m. It's tough to sustain that over time, but it's really critical. Those quick, short 15-minute sessions. And here's the thought for people watching this panel. You can use technology to help connect with your employees, more frequently. So capture a little video of yourself sharing a message to your team and email it to them. Sometimes we're the shoemaker's children, and we're barefoot. We invest in technology and we're sending video messages and we're communicating digitally with our customers. But what are we doing as managers of a service department to connect with our employees using the same tools? Take a quick video of a customer and interview them. Just say, hey, for training purposes, would you mind if I asked you a few questions? And then send that to your team members about what that customer says that they valued on their experience today with your service department. Videotape a service writer doing the right thing or taking a customer's payment. To highlight catching people in the act of doing good is a really important way for adults to learn. And, all of our team members want to succeed. So my thought is you can use technology to show your team what good looks like and to help them stay connected to the why you're asking them to improve and adapt their behaviors.
I love it. I love it. The why. And, even you mentioned the huddle. Tom Rustino, who's the dealer up at DePaula Auto Group up in Albany, New York, has everybody they have a team huddle out on the service drive, Dave, at 6:45 every morning. And I had been up there to visit him before we had started some training recently. And I said, what time should I get there? He goes, well, I'm going to be here at 6:20. So I that's a long day. So I knew I had to be there like at 6:10, right? I had to get there before the dealer. But they do a great job with that huddle as well.
And we see really motivated service teams. They have that 15 minutes and here's our goals, and we understand why these are our goals. Let's highlight success and celebrate. Julie did a great job yesterday doing this. Tell us about it, Julie. And then of course the leading indicators, those metrics about the behaviors that we're trying to reinforce, how many alignments we did, et cetera. Whatever those metrics are, that focus, it kicks off the day in the right way. It's tough to sustain over time, but really important.
Yeah, love it. Fred Fortin, what do you think? Next 6 to 12 months?
Well, Dave just gave me an opening. Yes, it's very, very hard to sustain, which is why, consultants are a great idea for dealerships to help, get those processes and procedures sticky. So I'm going to follow up on what Tully brought up, which is, there's all kinds of improvement training available. For free, CDK, Cox, CDK University has 10,000 courses that people can take on all different subjects within the automotive field. And it's not just about learning how to use a CDK product. It's about how do you become a better salesperson? How do you become a better service advisor in the drive? How do you take that next step and really up your talent level so that you know, you're becoming an example to the rest of your dealership and your customer base. So you know, I think electronic media is the way we're going to go in the next 6 to 12 months. You know, we know there's a vaccine coming. It's not here yet. We have to stay safe at least for the next 6 to 8 months. We have to really safeguard our people and our customers. And so the other side of that is we are finding at times that we have more time in the dealership to spare. And if we hit another COVID spike, we could see that slight downtime again. And we talked about this last time, Ted. Those are times to utilize to get better. That should not be downtime. It should be training time. It should be process improvement time. It should be, when we come out of this, where are we going to be higher and further along than we were when we entered it? And those are just important principles that we swear by.
Very powerful. Thank you, Fred. Laurie Foster, what do you think next 6 to 12 months?
Well, I hear a lot of dealers really drunk on their recent successes. And while that is sometimes applause-worthy, we have to look at the things that led to that success. And did we really create that success, or were we recipients of an unexpected set of circumstances in the marketplace? So what I ask dealers to look at is not what did we do, but what did we learn? And did we truly get better for the future, or did we just capitalize on the opportunities as they happened, yet they're not repeatable and sustainable? So I like to think big, to think small. So let's look at micro moments, like Dave was talking about, like in the moment, testing your team's ability to understand what they're working on. In the moment, do micro training. I'm sure Noel has some of that stuff right on the shelf where you're like, here's just momentary training that can bolster the thing that you talked about in your ongoing meetings. This can even reduce the amount of time that you have to stand there and hold meetings and keep people away from earning money and greeting customers. The next thing, micro recognition. We often think that recognition has to be big and powerful and outlandish and like a monster-sized check that we walk in the door with. But it's that micro recognition that hey, I caught this and I saw that, where you just create a culture of catching people doing things great or catching yourself where you're off track. The next thing would be, as we look at Tully's board, it would be micro trends. The best way to have big successes for the future is to spot micro trends up or down early and not wait for month-end meetings or big planning sessions, but that ability to look at not just the tenths even, but the hundredths when we're looking at movements and seeing what's happening, and make sure our leaders' eyes are attuned to that also. So micro moments, including micro training, micro recognition, and micro trends, that's how you set yourself up for big successes on the other side of this, whatever this is at any given moment.
Well, I see Gene is back, everybody, so it's time to wrap up. I want to thank everybody here on the Future of Retail Training panel: Tully Williams, David FOUTZ, Fred Fordin, Laurie Foster, and Noel Walsh. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Great job.
Hey, Ted, you know, I'm starting to hear the sound of drums, and what that means is, according to the guidebook here, we need to get everybody back to reality. And according to the guidebook, it says that the people with the Tully buttons are the ones who have to say the magic word, and that magic word is
Jumanji.
All right.